Howdy brewers. It's been a while since I've been on, and it's also been a while since I've done an all grain, so I figured I would do both in one. I haven't tasted the Cooper's Hazy Pale Ale yet. So I'm sorry I haven't filmed that one yet, but I just wanted to get onto this all grain while I've got some time. Been a while since I've brewed an all grain, I know, but I haven't remembered my very first step, and that is to get this filter at the bottom before you start to mash in. I'll get all this prep work done, and we'll come back and I'll give you the recipe, but it'll be at the end of the video anyway. But we will, I'll do all the rinsing and everything and get all the water up to temp, and then bring you back for when we're mashing in. Alright. I'm going to trial something today, and this is, so when I crush my grain, I'm going to try and crush it straight into the malt pipe for the grain father, and just see if that saves me that little bit of time. It's only a few minutes, but just having to pour the grain from a bucket into the grain father. So we'll see how it goes. I think that worked pretty well. That's all that fell through, so I'll pour that in over the top when I drop this one in the mash tun. Alright. I'll just leave that to see if it soaks in on its own. But that may have saved me a few minutes of stirring the grain. Okay, that's mashed in now, and I just gave it a stir to see if there were any dough balls, and there was only one, and that was the bit I threw in from the bucket right at the end. But that was so that I'm happy with that result. I'll probably keep doing it from now on. Oh, that looks like another dough ball. Yeah, alright. Maybe not, as it does. It's given me one dough ball. Alright, it's been 60 minutes. I've done 30 minutes with the plate on, and 30 minutes, before that 30 minutes with the plate off to stir the grain. In the spots where there's no gas bubbles, it's really clear wort, but I'm going to try and see if I can save a little bit more time in the day by not doing a mash out. Just see if it makes a difference in time or in flavour. So I will turn the pump off, and I'm going to start the sparge. I'm still going to sparge at 77 with 77 degree water, so that should effectively kill the enzymes as well, or suspend the enzyme work. So I see if that saves a bit of time instead of the 15-20 minutes to get to temperature and then stay at 76 degrees. We'll get the mash and then we'll start the boil. Alright, we've got a rolling boil now. I've thrown in the first wort hops. That's 10 grams of Magnum, and the flavour and aroma additions, I'm doing a 50-50 split of Motueka and Cascade. That'll be 12.5 grams for each hop addition. Okay, we've got 15 minutes left. Throwing in the well flock tablet, the 12.5 grams each of Cascade and Motueka, and 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. And we'll do the same amount of the hops at the 5-minute addition as well. Alright, we've sanitised our wort chiller. It's our last hop addition. 5 minutes left in the boil, and then we'll start to cool it down. Alright, well, I've done a lot of the chilling inside the Grainfather. You can still see it's 39. As I said, it's really hot at the moment where I live, so I've taken out the bulk of it. It shouldn't extract any more iso alpha acids from the hop, so it shouldn't get any more bitter. But I am taking it into the fermenter, and I'll bring it down to pitching temp. For just going to use some simple US-05 yeast for this one, but it was a very easy mash up brew day where I just looked in the freezer, looked on the shelf, and yeah, just put together a very simple pale ale recipe. So I also used Beer Smith to make sure I didn't over hop anything or over bitter anything, or didn't have too much crystal malt, all that stuff, just to help with the numbers. But I was brewing by flavours with the Cascade and Motueka hops, but I'll put the recipe up, and yeah, you can have a look. Again, if you have any comments, please ask any questions you need, but yeah, put them in the video, and see you next time. Howdy brewers. I just thought I'd bring you back before I'm about to pitch the yeast. So as you can see, the temperature's 24.9 degrees. I'm pitching US-05, and while there be people out there that say you have to pitch colder, have to pitch at the right temperature, or 25's too warm, I'm just going to, for home brew, it's fine. At 25, it really is, because by the time the yeast, so we're in the lag phase where the yeast rehydrate. When it's rehydrating, it's not fermenting. It doesn't, to a certain extent, it doesn't really matter what temperature yeast rehydrate and go through that lag phase. Then when they go through the growth phase, yes, it is better to have it at the right pitching temp, and that's because you don't want, when they reproduce, you don't want them to produce other byproducts that are essentially what we don't, they're non-desirables in beer. And certainly when you hit the fermentation phase, that's when you want definitely want it at the right pitching temp. But the lag phase for when it rehydrates is going to take about 6 hours. I'm definitely going to be down to pitching temp by the time 6 hours is up. So please, if it's close enough, if it's lower than 28, even lower than 30 degrees Celsius for US-05, you're going to end up with a very palatable beer it'll be almost indistinguishable for homebrew. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say while I pitch the yeast. All right, cheers.